What are you hoping for in 2023? Well, I guess you are hoping for good things. Typically, the wish will be for health and happiness, for prosperity, for success. These are the kind of watchwords, aren't they, of the New Year greeting. Here's one: may the New Year bring you happiness, peace, and prosperity. Wishing you a joyous 2023. Well, these are all good wishes and sentiments, aren't they? And we don't have to pour any cold water on them as such. I'm sure you're not hoping for bad things to happen. I'm sure you're not wishing for illness or loss or death or such things as we might call evil things to happen to us in 2023. And yet we know, don't we, that if we're going to be realistic, that bad things may well happen to us in 2023, however much we wish they won't, or even pray that they won't. Because the Lord Jesus promised in John 16:33 that in this world you will have trouble, but I have overcome the world, he says. Cheer up or take heart, I have overcome the world. And yet there is that promise, isn't there, that evil things, that bad things will happen to us in this present age. And they are meant to happen to us in this present age. We know we may get sick. We know we may lose jobs. We may even lose a loved one. We ourselves may even die. But of course, for the believer, that's a glorious thing, isn't it? Spurgeon has I think in one of his devotionals, the great preacher of London, Charles Spurgeon, on the first day, January the 1st, he says something like this. I've shared this with you before, I think. Perhaps this will be your year. This will be your big year, your special year. What does he mean? Does he mean you're going to become very rich or very successful? No, he means perhaps this is the year when you will die. He says this will be your big year as a believer, when you'll be promoted to glory, to paradise. Isn't that a striking way of thinking about death for the believer? Well, we do know that bad things do happen, and they will happen. How will we think about it when they do happen? Or how can we prepare ourselves now for the days of evil, the dark days that are ahead? How do we, to use the words of Peter, prepare our minds for this kind of action? Do we say, for example, as some people I think like to say, that God doesn't have anything to do with bad things that happen? He's good and he's kind, so he can't have any involvement whatsoever in the bad things that happen to us. Some people will go only so far as to say, well, I admit that he allows some things to happen. And then perhaps like a master chess player, he works those bad situations into something good, something promising. But there's more here, isn't there, in Genesis 50:20 and across the Bible than that. Because Joseph saw and said and believed that God meant it. He meant these bad things. He meant these evil actions and events. Now, we don't for a moment make God the author of evil. He didn't make them. He didn't make Joseph's brothers sin. He never does that. But he meant them. He meant them. And that means that he had an intention for them. He had a purpose for them. A control over them in a way that we can't fully understand. He didn't make them, but he meant them. And these were evil human actions. We're talking about when they pushed him into the pit, down into that cistern from which he could not escape, and then sold him into slavery. These were evil human actions. And people have done evil things to us too, haven't they? And we've done evil things to them. These were evil human actions. The famine, of course, was a natural, what we call a natural evil. But what the brothers did to Joseph was a moral evil, was something that was obviously human.